StuDichotomy.
A class of kids.
Crucial, thought-provoking questions.
And occasionally something serious mixed in.
Featuring the kids of Shref Tech.
And Brad Schreffler.
Hello, welcome to today's StuDichotomy podcast. I'm here with Bobby, Mr. Schreffler, Jen, Kyle, Colton, and Avi. And today we're going to be talking about the insane craziness of brackets in March Madness / April Absurdity, which we came up with today, and bread.
Mostly bread.
Yeah, I'm very upset with some things that happened today.
we know. So, to catch everyone up, this morning started with me enjoying my wonderful Hardee's breakfast of a delicious steak biscuit, and Charlie, who's not with us right now, came in and commented on the biscuit looking terrible and not liking biscuits, and that rolls are better than biscuits, which is, of course, ridiculous, because biscuits are the best bread.
And then you therefore decided to classify a yeast roll as a dinner roll, which then really...
You're getting ahead of yourself, Perry.
And it was just annoying, because, it pissed me off, because it's not the same thing.
It's a lot of blue on my screen right now.
So then we decided that the only rational and normal way to solve the debate between rolls and biscuits is to have a full March Madness style bracket and vote for the various choices of types of bread, which ended at 16 total breads, because then we determined how to make a bracket, which ended up being more complicated than we thought it was going to be, and now we're at 16 breads that are available to be voted on. You can check the StuDichotomy Twitter or Brad Schreffler Twitter, both of which have the links to vote in the first round of the April Absurdity bread bracket, which is not easy to say.
Yeah.
Now, the contenders that are problematic for some people.
I also have to say that we took really good bread out in order to make this work. Which
Like
is,
wheat bread.
Wheat bread is not good. No one it's literally just...
There's going to be people that are going to say
wheat bread's
wheat bread is
amazing.
good.
We already know.
Mountain bread.
What?
Mountain bread.
No.
That is what is that?
That's like a powdered bread. That's like really
so
good.
much that just didn't make sense.
Like wheat bread is good and all, but it probably lose in second round match.
It would win. Wheat would lose in
round.
round one. There's no way wheat makes it past round one.
Against what?
Against any of those, it loses.
In my multi-grain.
The only way wheat wins is if it goes against cornbread.
If it went up against
How do people hate on cornbread? Cornbread is delicious. Cornbread is infinitely better than wheat bread.
I think cornbread's an old people thing.
It is.
Well, am I an old person then?
Yes.
It's a southern thing, and Florida's not really part of the South. That's the problem.
The South isn't cool either.
So yeah, I think a yeast roll definitely isn't a dinner roll.
Cornbread Hawaiian rolls has to win.
Hawaiian rolls against cornbread is a hard choice, because I don't know what I would
Hawaiian
pick.
rolls would win.
Hawaiian rolls because they're sweeter.
Hawaiian rolls are delicious. But so then what Perry is really mad about is yeast rolls.
Well, I mean, you guys wanted to talk about rolls, and then we wanted to talk about biscuits, and you wanted to put them in their own little categories, and then you were like, oh, well, that's technically a subcategory of this. So then, therefore, I was like, no, because then you're talking about a whole different kind of bread that you totally made different on purpose.
What does that mean? What are you talking about?
So yeast roll. The problem is yeast rolls. I think are type of dinner roll to me.
Yes, they are.
But they are different than a traditional. But when I think of a dinner roll, I think of the hard or even the soft edged one, but just a roll versus a yeast roll, which has. It's called that because it has extra yeast in it, which makes it rise more, and so it's fluffier on the inside.
Right, it looks like a mushroom.
It kind of, yeah.
It doesn't look like a mushroom.
I don't really know that it looks like a mushroom.
Yeah.
It can still be roughly
round.
the same shape.
Oh, my mom does double yeast rolls, in the same thing, and then they pop out.
It depends on how you make it.
Okay, why don't we just make a rolls bracket?
We could just have a rolls
Or
bracket.
a biscuit bracket. It's a sub bracket.
All right, so round one, we have bagels versus French toast. Just quickly.
French bread.
Oh,
French bread.
Oh, sorry, French bread. My bad. Bagels versus French bread. Just call it out. What do you think?
Bagels.
Bagels, French bread. Okay. Ciabatta versus dinner roll.
Dinner roll.
Okay. Brioche versus sourdough.
Sourdough.
They're all over the place.
Terrible.
English muffin versus rye.
Rye bread.
Okay. Cuban versus multigrain.
Multigrain.
Cuban.
Okay. Cornbread versus Hawaiian roll.
Hawaiian rolls.
Dang it, cornbread. You're all wrong, cornbread.
But it's sweeter. It's the sweeter choice.
Croissant versus pita.
Pita.
Biscuit versus garlic bread.
Garlic bread!
That's not fair that biscuit has to go against garlic bread in the first round.
Garlic bread's gonna
I
win,
think
baby.
biscuit and bagel are probably the best breads.
Bagel is up in the best breads for you? That's madness.
I don't know. I think biscuit is the best bread.
But then you have different kind of bagels.
No, it's types of bread. Will you relax?
But that's just annoying.
They're all
making
categories.
Biscuits
They're all
obviously gonna
categories.
lose
Types
the
of
garlic
bread.
bread.
I mean, so much kinds of.
Yeah,
so
there's different kinds of croissants. There's different kinds of multi-grain rolls,
Different
buns,
kinds of pitas.
biscuits. There's different kinds of English muffins.
I
There's
think
different
we
kinds of
excluded
dinner
people
rolls.
Are you saying that there are flaws in our hastily designed bread bracket? What are some of the things we had to take out?
Wheat bread.
Dinner roll.
Wheat bread.
bread.
is
Dinner rolls
terrible.
up there.
I would say-
Dinner roll didn't get taken
Oh, I
out.
thought we were asking what we
What
should take out.
We can't take out dinner roll. That's what started this whole thing.
Did you take
we
like
took out challah bread.
We took out challah, which I do love a good challah
Did you
toast.
take out naan?
We didn't have naan ever.
How about
We-
we take out cornbread?
We
and
probably
multigrain?
could have gotten to 32 teams,
Which is
32
what I said we
breads,
should've.
but it would have added a whole nother week of voting on our
You would have
bracket.
had to add mountain bread, which we don't even know
And
what
What
that is.
did-
Baguette is French bread. That's what that is.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why we didn't add baguette. We had to really think about the choices. And as usual, I would point out that there's a lot of problem solving going on.
You did French bread instead of baguette. You
That's
could-
the same
the
thing.
same thing,
I
you
just
idiot.
said that.
I know, but you literally could have just wrote baguette instead of French bread.
Is it
One
because
word
you couldn't
versus
spell
two
it?
words.
Well, then everyone has to fight over how we say baguette because is it baguette or is it baguette, and
It's
no
a
one really
baguette.
knows.
It's a baguette.
Exactly.
It's a baguette.
That's just a hassle.
baguette.
Let's just say French bread.
It's a lot easier to say French bread. Voting is now open.
You want to know what? The Canadians will tell us how to say it because they're French.
That's a good point. We probably have some Canadians listening that will be able to tell us how
Do
to
they
say
speak
it
the
properly.
language or do they make the bread too? That's what I'm wondering.
All right. Any other thoughts on our bread bracket?
I just think it was absurdly stupid.
Anybody want to call a winner for the total?
Well,
the total,
garlic
Garlic
bread.
bread.
total winner.
Garlic bread.
We got two
Hawaiian
for garlic.
Well, yeah,
Hawaiian
you
roll.
literally have garlic bread going up a croissant. Oh,
Bagiscuit.
I think biscuit's gonna beat garlic bread. I think.
No,
I
think
hope
garlic
biscuit
bread.
beats garlic bread because biscuits are the best. They're phenomenal and awesome, and I love them.
This is
But garlic bread has more taste and flavor and goes with much more things than biscuit does.
Not true.
So you're saying
garlic
you're
bread
so-
is not.
you're
A biscuit is way more diverse and usable in more situations than a garlic bread. You can't have garlic bread for breakfast.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
I've had
That's
it for
ridiculous.
You can
You
do
make
anything
bad
you
life
want.
choices. That's not my problem.
So you're saying
you
like-
can't have garlic bread for breakfast.
I've had it for breakfast.
so on the
Well,
right
I mean, you
side,
can, but it's not a breakfast choice.
on the
You can
right
make
side,
anything a
you'd
breakfast
in,
choice.
You'd in Hawaiian rolls versus biscuit
That's what you think? Hawaiian versus biscuit?
on right side, and then on
No.
left side you'd
Oh.
in French. No, you'd in bagel over English muffin.
You think bagel takes the left bracket?
I think.
What about dinner roll? Dinner roll, I think could.
I want to see dinner roll go out in the first round just because it would make me feel
No one
good.
knows what a ciabatta is.
I do not know what a ciabatta roll
is
is.
good.
Ciabatta is what you have like sandwiches on. It's delicious.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
What
Like
did
a
you
donut.
A panini press is typically with a nice ciabatta roll.
I want to see rye beat English muffin.
What if
Just for
cornbread
fun.
was-
I love rye bread.
The fry beats
English muffins are
I'm
awful.
playing this game
English
anymore.
muffins are terrible.
Oh, there's Carissa.
Hello, Chris.
Bagels would beat English muffins. Hi, Carissa. Welcome to the StuDichotomy podcast. We're talking about bread brackets. What are your thoughts about bread?
As she looks at the floor.
I like bread.
You like bread? Okay, very informed. What bread do you think is going to win the bracket? Looking over it in like 30 seconds,
For breakfast or for
just
like...
in general.
I like...
You see, it's hard. You have to really think
Bagels
about
are
it.
good.
Why would you
Bagels?
say
You think
bagels?
bagels
of all
take
things?
Bagels?
Bagels are diverse. I'll give you that.
bagels
You
you
can
can
use
eat
They
that.
are
any meal.
diverse.
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
are
exactly.
many flavors and different
I
types
love
of
English
bagels.
muffin.
What else do we want to talk about? Oh, Zuckerberg on trial with the Supreme Court. Yes, no, Supreme
Sorry,
Court
excuse me,
with
correct
Congress.
yourself. It's Zuckerbot.
Zuckerbot on trial.
On a booster seat.
Not even on trial. None of my sentence was true. Literally nothing I said there was true.
Nothing.
But it wouldn't be
Zuckerberg testified
We didn't
at-
school.
Senate yesterday.
to the Senate yesterday. So what? What did anybody see it?
I heard.
No.
I
Watch
heard
clips.
snippets of it.
I just
Okay.
heard it just
Why
now.
did he have a booster seat? Is my question. Is he too short?
I don't
I'm
know.
pretty
Yeah, I
sure
mean,
he's.
I think he's like 6. Like
Yeah, he's okay. But why does he need a booster seat then?
Just 'cause it's
To make
funny.
him feel.
All right.
Taller.
So
oh,
The
probably because
memes
he
were
was
great.
sitting there for like an hour and a half.
the memes were constant. I also thought it was quite funny. I thought one of the interesting things to me is that the Washington Post live streamed it on Twitch, which I thought was great. That's kind of a big deal.
He's
Why didn't-
5'7".
Why didn't I have a Facebook Live feed yesterday?
Real question.
Fair. But that's actually a relevant thing because the Washington Post is owned by Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos also owns Amazon, and Amazon owns Twitch. So the Washington Post live streaming on Twitch is pretty interesting because it is following what I've said is that it will be expanding well beyond gaming and has been expanding well beyond gaming. But airing that trial on there is kind of interesting.
Was it under IRL stream?
It was a talk show stream.
That's not real.
It's not real. It has to be IRL because it was an in real life stream.
Or it should have been news.
Then I guess, but I don't think they have a news category yet.
Yeah, that's why they need to add one.
Good times. What I also find interesting is people that are up in arms about the fact that Facebook is using and selling our data. And so where do you guys stand on that discussion? Is it unacceptable for Facebook to sell our data? Is it...
Well, we
What data
willingly
are they
consent to
selling?
them having the data, right? But
Like,
do we
is
consent
it
to them just
information
selling
over
it?
data, or is it
Or
just
like giving
data?
it away to third parties?
Can't have three people talking at once. Jen, finish your sentence.
Okay,
Willingly
so
consenting.
we consented to giving them our data. So they're giving it away to like third parties, right? Is that what that is? So do we consent to that technically?
Yes, it's in the terms of service, so technically, yes, you agreed to it.
So then that's a you problem for not reading it.
Okay.
Do we know what third parties are taking the data though? Like, because in the terms of service, I haven't read it, but does it specifically state what companies it's selling it to,
It
or does
might,
it just
but they
say
probably-
that they're selling it and it's not you to know?
They probably have a general clause about using your data. It's theirs to do with us.
I would like to know what companies are garnering my data.
Okay.
Does it say like what specific data is being sold? Like what kind of or how much?
It usually lists, like, terms of service typically will list some examples of the kind of data they might be using, but it doesn't necessarily give all of it. One of the things people are upset about right now with the Facebook case is that a third-party app, so not a Facebook design program, but another program that was using the Facebook servers to use like login and authentication, was able to, using the access that the 5,000 something users had, was able to get to some million users' data because it's not just about you. So, like, let's say I agree to the terms of service with no problem, and I don't care what Facebook does with my data. By getting to me as a third-party developer, they're able to get to a lot of the information about all the people I'm friends with on Facebook, too. So you're able to sort of expand that reach beyond the people that necessarily agreed to it. And that's one of the things people are upset about, is that sort of secondary reach, the data you get because of being friends with someone.
And I'm just looking at like a few articles. I've been scrolling through like 3 or 4 of them right now just to like get a quick glance at like what happened to the Senate hearing yesterday. And what kind of sucks is that like I've been reading some left articles and some right articles during this past few minutes, and all of them go around the same consensus that the Senate kind of like whittled down hours of asking like really basic questions that didn't really go anywhere, which kind of sucks. And at one point it even says the senators mostly like didn't really ask any deep questions about how Facebook uses the data it collects, just how they collect it and what they can do with it, not what they're actually using it for. And some senators even argued that the complexity of the problem is bigger than they could ever handle. I mean, like, it's not like they're all a bunch of tech geeks in the Senate or something like that. And it's actually kind of funny. Senator John Kennedy said,
Yes.
"Your user agreement sucks." "Quote unquote."
He also started his presentation with "I come in peace," which is pretty funny. But yes, so it does the user agree. But terms of service is kind of like this sweet sleeping giant that we need to deal with. It's this looming problem that has been unaddressed because everyone just, when you see the terms of service, no one reads them except moving on.
Right.
So at some point, that's going to be a problem.
Right. Colton reads every terms of service.
I'm trying to find the Facebook one right now.
You read terms of service?
He does.
Colin does, yes.
Well, there's a
lot of
website
the time.
that takes it and tries to make it in a readable format easily, like removes all like the legal jargon,
Okay.
and I read it through those.
You do that?
I'll read the terms of service, but rarely do I ever not accept it.
Okay. That's fair. I think we need something like for a phone, for Android or iPhone App Store, it gives you the specific things this app has access to, right? Mm-hmm. We need something like that for terms of service. Collect data, sell data. But I also think we don't have a real definition of that data. Like, what is data? So what does Facebook know about you? Yes, they can get your phone number, right? They can get that. But a lot of the stuff they sell is usage data. It's how long you're,